It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're up dead early on another fantastic Friday, and it's fantastic because you are up with us. My name is Mark Daniels, and I will be your solo host for today, but we're never alone. We got the whole Bahamas at Sunrise crew here. We got the whole Cable Bahamas crew, and we got the whole Bahamas with us. So shout out to you all, and it's a fantastic Friday. Hope you had a great week, everybody. There might have been some struggles. There might have been some difficulties to overcome, but we've made it to Friday. Celebrate the small successes. You know, sometimes you got to cry. Sometimes you got to let it out. Every day isn't always easy. It's okay to not be okay, but that's all right. You have your village around you that is here to support you. You got friends, you got family. Most of all, you got life, and with this life, there is hope. Speaking of hope, we got the Olympics still going on in Bahamas. We in the running. Shout out to our 100-meter hurdlers, our women. Devin Charlton, she is in the final, and boy, we ready for her to bring it home for us. We know she has got the world record. She got the Bahamas record. She can break all the records. So, Devin, we are here cheering you on, and all of the Bahamian athletes who've been representing so well for us in Paris, representing, pushing your hardest, all the personal best, national best, winning your heats, even being there and competing, making it to the line. It's been so much preparation for so many athletes over the months, over the years. To get to Paris, you got to make it to the line. There's a lot of things happening in Paris. Some people aren't making it. Some people are injured. They're sick. But we celebrate all of our Bahamian athletes and all of our Caribbean athletes, man. The Caribbean is showing up, and even Africa. What's our friend name who won the 200-meter men's finals? He beat out Noah. They say Noah's sick. That's okay, Noah. You'll get better, right? Huh? Yeah, right. He got COVID, so that's okay, you know. But guess what? That wouldn't help you anyway, buddy, because my boy ran that 200-meter, and I love that. I just love the competitiveness. I love underdogs, and we love winners. So shout out to everybody who is here this morning. We got a great show for you today. Just want to say we got Renee in our thoughts. Shout out, Renee. We with you, and we can see you again soon. Today we got a lot coming up. We're going to be talking about Ignition. What's this here? Ignition 2024. I want to say Ignition 3000, right? The Most Holy Trinity is here to talk about their youth conference. We're going to be talking with Doctors Hospital about wound care, a very important part of the aspect of healing. We're going to be talking about routine childhood immunizations, and we're going to be looking at an interview talking about the road to Paris with Tonique Williams. All that and more, but let's find out what's happening in the weather with Brother Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, we have a mid-upper level trough across the extreme northwest Bahamas, and that is supporting some showers and thunderstorms over that area at this time. The radar is showing some showers and thunderstorms over Abaco and Grand Bahama this morning, and that should continue over the next couple of days. But weak high pressure cross remain in the islands, and that's going to be pretty good weather and also some light winds throughout the next couple of days and into next week. So today, a mix of sun and clouds, hot and humid, but you can expect a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, mainly across Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini. High temperature 91 degrees Fahrenheit, heat index 103. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and muggy, a few nighttime showers, one isolated thunderstorm over the extreme northwest Bahamas again, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini. Yellow going at 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 89, 80. In Jamaica, 92 and 80. In Trinidad, 89, 77, and the Turks and Caicos Islands, 90 and 78. Across North America, Atlanta, 91 and 71. In Boston, 75 and 69. In Miami, 91 and 80. Dallas, Texas, 102 at daytime, 80 at nighttime. And Toronto, Canada, 78 and 65. As we go the week, high pressure builds across the islands, so you look at some improved weather, partly sunny skies, hot temperatures, humid conditions, but you can expect a short thunderstorm by afternoon. The temperature daytime will be in the low 90s, at nighttime around the 80-degree mark. That puts a wrap on your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. Ignition is here again, everybody. If you've been living under a rock, then you've never heard about Ignition. And today we're going to be talking about Ignition 2024, the premier youth conference put on by the Most Holy Trinity in Stapleton Gardens. And today we have some guests in studio to tell us all about the great things that's going to be happening. We have with us Brother Lon Minnis, we have Gracie Cooper, Aaron Bastian, and Edwin Johnson. Thank you all for being here again, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This year's theme is Calm in the Midst of Chaos. That seems so fitting. It seems like as we look every day, there's something else that we can be worried about. There's something to potentially stress over. But calm in the midst of all that. That sounds very peaceful. Tell us about this.
Okay, well, the thing is, young people are going through a whole lot. And I mean, their stress is different in these times. I remember when I was a young person, I wasn't going through the same stress as them. And so it was very fitting with this theme that we can show them that Jesus is always key. He is always the way. And anytime you need that compass, look to God. Always look to God.
Man, I've been seeing the TikTok videos going around. I've been enjoying them. They got that song stuck in my head. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, 6, 7, 8. Tell us all about the TikTok promotions and what is it you're trying to get people to understand about this conference?
I think so lately Generation Next has been online, like on the internet a lot more, and I think it's helped us a lot because like people my age were online like all day. So I think it's really nice to see like other people your age and see older people like catering to your generation and teaching you more about Christ. I think it's nice to see like a fun way, like a fun, enjoyable way to learn more about Him. So the TikToks have been very, very fun to make, and it's been very nice to see everyone's reactions and to see more people come out and show out.
I think the energy is coming through the screen when I read that, when I saw the video. It just felt very welcoming, felt very fun. Aaron, tell us, what can young people expect to experience at Ignition 2024?
So there's a whole lot you can expect to experience. First off, we have a very great dynamic speaker who's Mike Evans. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. This is his 4th time joining us so far. And he's a great mix of being personable and showing you the intellect and showing you that he trusts God's word and how to move forward and trust God's word as well. And on top of that, we have a great drama our team is preparing for, and we have great praise and worship sessions that we're sure will be great, and concessions. So.
Man, Ignition starting everybody up, getting us charged up. Yeah. It's the end of summer. Well, let me say it's the end. It's getting near the end of summer. We're approaching September and back to school. What do you hope to happen out of this conference? What do you expect young people to walk away with?
Well, you know, over the course of the years, some of the stories has always been, it's been a renewing experience. It's been something to recharge the spirit for young people. So Ignition has always been for the young and the young at heart. So we're just hoping that people would come with an open heart to hear what Minister Owens has to say, and yeah, just to be charged up and renewed and prepared to receive the word of God.
Are you still accepting people who want to register? Do we pre-register? Do we just walk up to the church?
Well, we have all the options open. Right. You could pre-register. You could check out our Facebook page, our Generation Next. The link is all there, and you could, if you're not technical, you're not savvy, you could always just come in and register at the door.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Aaron, we mentioned earlier that young people are going through things, right? And I know you ain't the young anymore, right? But tell us, what are some of the things that are relevant in young people's minds that you think that they can come to this conference to get some advice on, to network, just to hear other people's stories?
So what I think mostly, a lot of young people that I've in my experience, they're looking for acceptance. And so what be their issue? You know, they say, oh, I don't feel like the church, I belong to the church anymore. Or there's so much out there that I want to learn that I could find out on my phone that just tells me that everything y'all are saying is a lie. But I still feel like I want to be part of this. How do I still go about my business knowing that there's a world out there that I live in? but I'm trying to, still be a Christian. That's what I see the young people mostly struggling with, in my opinion.
And that seems like that's a struggle. Young people across the board being accepted by the older generation, being heard, being validated, and feeling like they have a seat at the table. Right? So you've been a part of Ignition. You've participated in it. Now you're helping to organize it. What has it done for you over the years?
In general, like the youth ministry and like starting like growing up in the church, has been really nice to be around people my age, like who are all going through like similar things, but some a lot different, just growing more in Christ. And I think Ignition is a really, really nice conference. It's been really fulfilling for me, like Edwin was saying earlier. Like it just reminds me that, God is always there and he hears my cries, and I must cast my anxieties on him because he cares for me. And I think Ignition is just a reminder, and it's something fun to do in the summer to just remind you that, hey, God is here for you, he loves you, and he cares about you more than anyone else will.
There you go. I like that. That's a TikTok video right there, right?
Wow, some young people.
So, Brother Lon, once again, you've seen Ignition from start. We ain't calling your age, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it from start to now. How have you seen the conference evolve over the years, and what makes this conference different than the others?
Well, I tell you this, Mark. We have now come to our 25th Ignition conference. Wow. And yes, as you said, I was to the first one in 2000. And so, over the years, one thing that hasn't changed, and then I'll get to, things that have changed. God is still the same. The message of God, the message of salvation is still the same. Jesus came so that every person on this earth can be saved, okay, and can have that free gift of salvation. The thing that we've seen over the years is that the faces of the young people, which is always great because we have a generation that cycles in and cycles out, okay? We don't always stay young forever, even though we want to, right, Mark? Yeah.
Don't get me.
Yeah. You see? But the thing is, we see that over the years, our ministry acts have changed. Our praise and worship, we got more hype. We started adding more cameras, lights. We now stream online. You see, so we get into the masses. And one of our former youth directors, who's passed, Mr. Theophilus Clinton, he always wanted to see the Ignition Youth Conference taped, and also you can see it anytime throughout the year. Right. And so that is what we've worked on. We've done from the year 2020, which was our first virtual, and it was a very difficult year, but after that it got easier and easier to bring it to the masses. And so over the years, drama has increased, praise and worship got better. I mean, speakers were always great, and they're getting greater, and more young people are now being saved. More young people are thirsty for God, and this is what Ignition is all about. So all those young people who are at home, we want them to come out next week, starting Wednesday.
So next week, Wednesday, give us the details again.
Yes.
Next week, Wednesday, what's the schedule and how can people register?
Okay, so yes, August 14th, 15th, and 16th, and I'll let Gracie talk about the sneaker ball, which you gotta really see. You see, 7 p.m. Every night, okay? And you can register online. We will have a QR code that you can actually scan, so it'll be easier. You know, that's the times that we're living in now.
Exactly, right.
You see, and so once you sign up, you can sign up for the conference, and then also sign up for the sneaker ball.
Tell us about the sneaker ball.
Okay, the sneaker ball is a new edition. It's on the last day, Friday the 16th. It's a fun and fashionable event. Teens can dress to impress, wear fancy sneakers, anything they like, and their dresses and their suits, and they'll just be enjoying themselves, having a great time, listening to some of the greatest gospel artists in the nation.
That's awesome. Sneaker ball coming in on Friday. I got to go find my Patrick Ewings and dust them off. I aged myself. Hey, I appreciate y'all being here again. Any last words you want to say just to the young people out there who might be curious about this conference and deciding whether or not they should come?
It's going to be a great time. They should come see us, come enjoy the conference, come grow in the spirit with us, and if not, catch it online.
Mission started.
I can't add to that. That was awesome. Come, be blessed. We want to have you there.
And I wish you all the best. May the halls be full.
Yes.
And may the spirit overflow. And have another successful year. 25 and more.
Yes.
Ignition,
Yes.
everybody, at the Most
Amen.
Holy Trinity in Stapleton Gardens. That's why I born and grow, you know.
That's
Hey.
right.
We appreciate y'all being here. Thank you again for being on Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hey, congratulations on your new promotion.
Even I was surprised.
What are you going to do with that new windfall of yours?
You mean like investing in stocks and bonds?
Yes, you might want to consider investing in mutual funds. Monies are pooled to invest in financial assets that fit your investment profile. Start your journey to financial freedom.
How do you know all this? What's Leno?
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Cruise around the Caribbean with Shell. Win $20,000 in travel, fuel, and utility vouchers. Complete your receipt as an entry form. Include your name, email address, and phone number. You can then submit online or WhatsApp 242-422-0271 or send a direct message to Sun Oil Limited on Facebook.com.
How important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Hi, I'm Ria Christina, and I'm super excited to be the new host of You and Your Money, a local international bank that has actually been closing some of their branches. It actually gives me an opportunity to share my views, my take on the financial matters. Even when we think about what's happening globally, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of having to educate business owners as to the importance, the economic impact, and how it is that we can look at improving the Bahamian economy. $1 billion. That's how much we spend every year importing food in this country. It also gives me an opportunity to have conversations, and that's meaningful conversations with thought leaders within our community, even having to see how it is that we can work together or even the opportunities that may exist for many Bahamians. So I'm excited to be here and looking forward to the great conversations that's to come.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are discussing wound care with Dr. Rodlin Malcolm, a very important part of the medical treatment process. And we're going to learn some exciting and new things on our show this morning. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here. We're talking about wounds, right? I worked as an EMT for a little while. I worked at Doctor's Hospital. I might have helped with a couple of cuts here and there. While I was there, Nurse Clark was there, and she taught me everything I knew about wounds. So wounds, what's the first thing we need to know about cuts and wounds?
So the first thing we need to know is basic wound care, right? So the first thing that comes to mind should be hygiene, right? So when you encounter an open wound or open cut, you should make sure that hand washing is very important. And along with hand washing, making sure that you have copious irrigation or making sure that the wound is clean. And you could use soap and water, that's fine. And removing any debris or anything that may be present would also help to cleanse your wound properly. So simple things, hygiene is the first thing that I always mention as paramount.
Because, you know, I am a father of 4, and so every now and again somebody scrapes something, cuts something, might need stitches. And as parents, let's say someone gets a cut, the first thing you want to do is grab them, and what's the first thing you do? Wash your hands, right?
Yes.
Wash your hands, and let's say you have a cut that's, you know, open and let's say it's bleeding. What's the next step?
So first of all, I would like to say you need to be able to differentiate between a minor wound and a major wound. So minor wounds like cuts and scrapes, they tend to be able to heal within a few days. But if you have a wound that's a lot more deeper, notice that it's bleeding more excessively, it depends on how long it takes that wound to not bleed. So for example, if you're applying compression to the wound, let's say for about 2 minutes and you realize, okay, it's still bleeding, that's a red flag. You want to take that patient or that person or your family relative to a medical facility to have proper assessment. All things you can't do at home, but some things you can. So the do's and the don'ts are very important. So for example, if you have a wound that's sustained by an animal bite, you know, we have dogs, cats, all those kind of things. You want to take them to a medical facility. If there is a wound that happens as a result of a rusty nail or a rusty instrument or something, you want to make sure take them to a medical facility. Suppose you need a tetanus shot, suppose you need stitches. So all of those things you want to look out for. I always say if you feel unsure, just consult a medical professional.
Yeah, just that's what you guys are here for, right? That's why you're going to school all this time to study, to come help us heal our wounds. What about wounds associated with, say, surgeries or different treatments? Let's say you're in a hospital setting. What's the process for, you know, let's say dealing with a wound after, you know, somebody has had major surgery?
Okay, so we call those post-op care or post-op instructions. So usually after a procedure, you would get instructions from your surgeon or your medical physician. And those instructions would be very important to adhere to. Things like don't get the wound wet, don't remove the bandage when you're supposed to remove the bandage. Always pay attention to signs of infection. For example, you want to make sure you examine your wound, check if there's any tenderness, any discharge, any odor from the wound, okay? Usually a few days after surgery, your physician would instruct you to remove the bandage and clean lightly with saline or any kind of, you know, washing material and make sure that that area is nice and dry. So those are the things that you pay attention to. You also want to make sure that you have a thermometer to measure your temperature. Sometimes people who have infections may have fever, and the fever is 100.4 or greater, right? So you monitor those signs for infection. That's the most important part when it comes to post-op care for any wound.
Tell me about diabetic wounds. Let's say a person is a diabetic and let's say they've cut themselves somewhere on their limbs, on their fingers. How should they manage a wound and what's that treatment process like?
Okay, so when it comes to diabetes, as you know, that's one of our major cause of concern, especially when it's uncontrolled. So not just diabetes itself, but when it's uncontrolled, meaning that the sugar levels are out of control. So if a patient who has uncontrolled diabetes sustains a cut, sometimes they have difficulty with the feeling, so they may not even be aware until it's too late. So they want to make sure, examine that cut, see if there's any discharge, any overlying redness or tenderness to the area. And if this is something that they note, I want them to immediately cover that area that's exposed. And of course, call their medical provider for further management. Why? Because is there an issue where we need to regulate their blood sugars better so that they can heal? Is there an issue with infection? There are so many different things that can happen. But if you're a diabetic and you get a cut, of course, you follow the same basic wound care procedures. You make sure you wash your hands, clean the wound, pat it dry, look out for bleeding, look for signs of infection, cover the wound. If you are unsure, just call us, get a consultation.
Fantastic. Now I want to go back to these do's and don'ts because there's like, we grew up here in the Bahamas, so let's say you get cut. The first thing you do is say, go in the sea and go wash it off. I need to go to the ocean and soak this cut. Tell me, should I be soaking my cut in the seawater, or at what point of the healing process is that most beneficial?
I love this. This is actually my favorite question because, you know, we have our own old folks' tales that we want to do. So the first myth that I want to address is the saltwater soaking, right? If we didn't know, the seawater or the salt water contains a lot of organisms and bacteria that we are not aware of that can go deep inside the cut, can even cause severe infection and loss of limb. Okay, it could be that severe. So
not my good salt water.
Please don't soak an open wound into the sea or salt water. There are instances where you can use seawater or salt water to decrease inflammation, but that's without an open wound. The next thing is leaving the wound open to dry. We like to say that, let the wound air out.
Yeah, let it dry out.
No, it don't work like that. Studies have shown that keeping a moist wound environment, for example, even applying petroleum jelly or Vaseline, can help to speed up the wound healing process. Another one, using hydrogen peroxide and alcohol, because everybody like to see the wound bubbling.
That got a bubble, doesn't mean it clean.
No, that don't mean it clean. You're actually causing more damage to the underlying healthy tissues. So hydrogen peroxide damages healthy tissues instead of the non-healthy tissues. So stay away from the peroxide and alcohol, please.
I've been doing it all wrong.
Yes. The next one, Vaseline and butter for burns.
Oh, no.
So people that apply Vaseline and butter for burns, they actually trap in heat and make the burn worse. And this is for minor burns. Major burns, please go to a medical facility. But minor burns, just rinse it with cool tap water, pat it dry.
Like, yeah, I get burned plenty as a child, and my mother would pull out the cold mustard. I still don't like mustard to this day. I love you, Mom, but I don't like mustard, right? So what should we have in our, I guess, our cabinet at home that we can treat a wound with before we get, let's say, to a medical facility, or instead of going to a medical facility?
Perfect. I feel like everybody should invest in at least a first aid kit. It's readily available. But we should have, of course, a thermometer, a topical antibiotic, whether it's Neosporin, bacitracin, or even as simple as Vaseline. Everybody should have Vaseline in their cupboard, right? Bandages, clean gauze, of course, Band-Aids, simple things like that, a little wrap. Those are the most important key items that you can have. And of course, clean running water, you know, is also important. Hand washing materials.
So let's say you have a wound that's been, you know, healing or it's been treated. What are the signs of infection? I know you mentioned it, but I just want to go through again. What's a sign that a cut is not healing the way that it's supposed to?
Okay, if you notice that there is discharge from the wound, if you notice that it's very puffy, it seems swollen, it becomes a lot more painful. You notice that you're not able to complete your daily routines as you were, you know, once comfortable when you didn't have the wound. If it becomes more inflamed, and of course you start to feel a bit unwell, you might develop fever, chills. Those are some of the signs of infection. If you notice that it's taken forever to close, it's not changing, those are some of the cues that would let you know that, hey, something is a bit off here.
I need to throw some peroxide on this.
And no peroxide.
Scarring. What influences scarring? Because I know different people scar in different ways. And so scarring is, I guess, a natural part of the healing process. But for persons who may be worried about scars, or say after surgery or after getting a wound, do you have any advice on lightening scars? Is that a thing? Just talk to me a little bit about scarring.
So unfortunately, inevitably, everybody can develop scars. It just depends on the type of skin that you have, because each person is an individual, so everybody heals differently, and also depending on your underlying illnesses as well. But when it comes to scarring, I don't know, because we think we black, we don't need to use SPF sunscreen.
No.
But sunscreen actually helps to decrease the level of scarring when it comes to a wound. So applying sunscreen to those areas that are going to be exposed. We live in a sunny climate, so use the sunscreen. Also vitamin E oils, cocoa butters, those kind of things, because again, it helps with the moisture and helps with wound healing as well. So those are some methods that we could use to improve scarring, but sometimes we can't always avoid the scarring process, but we can limit it.
I wear my scars proudly. I do a lot of work in the bush. I get cut up all the time. And if you don't come out bleeding, you didn't work. I want to ask one more do or don't.
Yes.
Aloes.
Oh, Lord.
Aloes heals everything. So I should take that aloes and put it on a cut, and it's going to magically heal, right?
Well, look, aloe, they say heal the inside and outside, because we eat it, we drink it, we do everything with aloe, right? So aloe vera also is a part of assisting with reducing the presence of scars. So yes, I agree with the applying of aloe, but to a closed wound, not an open wound.
All right. Got it.
Okay.
So no peroxide, stay out the seawater, don't leave your wound open to dry. You're giving us a lot of tips. Put the aloe on after the wound is closed. If somebody wants to find you and maybe get a consultation about, any questions they may have regarding wounds, how can they find you?
Sure. I am located at the Doctors Hospital Carmichael Outpatient Clinic. Usually you could book your appointments online at clinics.doctorshosp.com, or you could call us at 302-3271.
That's awesome. We're going to stitch up this segment with Dr. Malcolm. We learned so much this morning. Yes. I applaud you for the work you do. Very knowledgeable. I learned so much. And now I need to go throw out all the peroxide out of my house and go buy me some Vasa and all the things you mentioned. So I appreciate you for being here on the show this morning. And have a wonderful Friday.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Athletes, you hold in your hands the hearts of our people. Remember that you carry with you the pride and support of your nation.
World-leading mark for Stephen Gardner. That is a new world record for Devon Charlton.
Really, the Olympic movement, yes, is about sports. It's about education, but it's mainly about the development of people, young people. It doesn't matter your religion, how rich or poor you are, what kind of house you live in, how much money, it doesn't matter. That's the good thing about sports. If you have a little bit of talent, and you have a good coach like your coach, anything is possible.
Let us unite in our support for these remarkable men and women. They bear our collective hopes and dreams, representing the essence of what it means to be Bahamian. Tonight, as you unveil the Olympic gear, we celebrate the spirit, the hard work, and unity that these garments represent.
You may ask, what is our aim? I say victory, and to promote the Bahamas as the best, most provocative, most sought-after little nation on the planet.
I am very proud and elated to be the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture in this day and time with all the success we have been making in this country today. Then I want to congratulate all athletes from the various federations who have already qualified for the Olympics and those who will be seeking to be qualified this week. I wish you all the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing all of you in Paris.
The Bahamas Aquatics Federation has consistently been represented at every Olympic Games that we have participated in. I have no doubt that these outstanding Bahamians that will be coached by Trevano McPhee in Paris will represent us all extremely well.
Today marks a moment of intense pride and gratitude for Volkswagen Bahamas. I wish to express our heartfelt thanks to the Bahamas Olympic Committee for the opportunity to partner with them on the donation of a 2024 Volkswagen Atlas vehicle in support of the journey to Paris Olympic.
The road to Paris costs something, and so we hope our small contribution adds to that cost to the road to Paris.
We are profoundly grateful to our esteemed sponsors. Your contribution have not only fueled this event, but also empower our athletes to reach new heights.
Let us continue to strive to excel and to hold our flag high. Here's to a successful journey to the Paris Olympics. God bless you all, and God bless the Bahamas.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It is a fantastic Friday, and we're at the mid-show, and you stuck with us. My name is Mark Daniels, and I am your host this morning. I hope you enjoyed the first half of the show. I enjoyed that discussion, talking about wound care and learning all of the do's and don'ts. I've been getting it so wrong all my life. But see, that's why every day you live and you learn, right? And I also enjoyed the youth from the Most Holy Trinity and them talking about Ignition 2024, that youth conference. Just a lot of energy coming from that group. And it's a safe space for youth to come and learn and share and be among like-minded individuals. So next week, Wednesday to Friday at the Holy Trinity, the Most Holy Trinity in Stapleton Gardens. Go check it out. And don't forget the sneaker ball happening on Friday. Get your kicks ready, right? Your Jordans or your LA Knights or your LA Gear or what else? Your Sweetwaters. You can wear your Sweetwaters too. That's okay. Sweetwaters are welcome. But see you there at the sneaker ball this Friday. We're still excited about the Paris Olympics, and we're excited about Devon Charlton getting ready for the women's 100-meter hurdle finals happening today. We're sending you all the good energy, Devon. Go and run that track. Tear that track up. We are there with you. I hope you all have a great weekend this weekend. Get out, get some sun on your face. We've been getting some good rain. That means that the trees are flowering. There's ganaps coming out. Man, my pear tree looking good. Soursop, sugar apple. And so for those of you who have the green thumbs, make sure you're planting your food in your yard. Plant something in your yard that you can share with someone else on your street, and you can all rely on each other. Because food security is all of our business, and it starts right in your own yard. We've got more coming up in our second half. We're going to be talking about routine childhood immunizations, and we're also going to be looking at an interview with Tonique Williams talking about the road to Paris. All that and more, but let's hear from Brother Godfrey Burnside once again.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. Yes, second look at weather at sunrise. The tropics this morning, and we have one system we are monitoring. We have a tropical wave over the tropical Atlantic, several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It is producing widespread organized showers and thunderstorms this morning, and development will be slow. The system over the next 7 days has a 50% chance of development. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected, tropical cyclone formation expected during the next 7 days. On local scene, upper level trough over the northwest Bahamas, Grand Baham Abaco is throwing out some showers and thunderstorms across the area, and that continues for the next 24 hours as that moves towards the west. Otherwise, weak high pressure across the other islands, so we can expect a lovely day and weekend in store weather-wise. In your marine forecast today, those winds south to southwest at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the southeastern islands. On Saturday and Sunday, those winds will be light and variable, seas 1 to 3 for the northwest Bahamas, with easterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 11:48 this morning. Your next low tide will be at 5:59 this evening. High gain tonight at 11:57. Sunset 7:47 this evening. Rising at 6:42. UV index 9. Your water temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase now moving towards the first quarter. External look. That weak high pressure will be the dominant feature across the islands throughout the next several days. So we're looking at partly sunny skies, hot and humid. And yes, there's a chance of a short thunderstorm by afternoon, though temperature daytime will be in the lower 90s, at nighttime around 80-degree mark. That puts up in your follow look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. Summer is just about done, and it's almost back to school. And what does that mean? We need to check on your immunizations for your school-age children and yourself. Here to talk to us about this, we have Dr. Tiara Murray. She is a medical officer with the surveillance unit. And we also have Gina Rose. She is a nursing officer and a national immunization coordinator. Good morning, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank y'all for being here. Y'all ain't got no needle in the studio with y'all, because I'm scared of needles, right?
Not today.
I was telling y'all before that I got a needle when I was a child, and I mash up the whole doctor's office. Shout out to Dr. Roberts. May you rise in power. But I broke his office up from top to bottom. I climb all over my mom, knock everything off the counter. So let's go dig right in. Why are vaccines important for children?
Okay, well, we know that our bodies are really wonderfully engineered. We have our natural immune system, right? So that when we encounter viruses and bacteria, our bodies are able to mount a response, produce antibodies. Now, babies, their immune systems are not fully developed yet. Initially, they have that protection from their mom's antibodies, but that wears off. And so what vaccines do is they teach the body to be able to respond to these viruses, these bacteria, and protect them from getting the actual disease, so they can get the antibodies without having to get sick.
It's like they're training up those special white blood cells to attack that special disease, getting your army all built up. Are the diseases that vaccines prevent, are they still prevalent today, or are they phased out and we're just taking them for taking its sake?
Right, so it's easy for us to take that for granted, right? Because people will think, oh, I don't see measles, right? I don't see mumps, we don't see these things, polio, those are things of the past. Like what is that? We don't even, like, people don't even know. But the reasons that we don't see them is because the vaccines are there to protect us. It's like armor, right? So the arrows are still being shot, but you have the armor, so we're not seeing the effects of the diseases. But illnesses like the polio virus and measles and mumps, they're still out there. And thanks to vaccines, we don't see them manifested, so it's still important for us to be protected.
So what vaccines are needed for school-age children? Once again, I remember getting measles, mumps, rubella, and maybe a couple other things when I was a child. But has that changed, or what do children need now?
No, so that has not changed. So just to piggyback a little bit on what Dr. Murray would have said, even though we don't see those diseases in the Bahamas, and like she said, they're still around, so there are places that we like to go. We like to go to the US, and some of us like to go Canada, and some of us like to go to the Sahara, and so those places, those diseases exist. And so you want to protect yourself and your children, especially if you're going to frequent those places. And then we do have people that are coming from those different countries to our shores, millions of people already for the year. And so the vaccine is a way of protection and prevention. So for the children who are going into school, so primarily our grade 1 students, they should have by now had already had 2 doses of their measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. And we usually give those 2 doses between age 1 and 2. By now, they should have already had their polio drops, and it's about 4 doses of that by grade 1, and they should have also had what we call the DPT Hep B, and should have already had 5 doses of that vaccine as well by now. We also have started giving children chickenpox vaccine, so you don't have to get the bumps and the itching, and
That's a
need
rite
the
of passage.
calamine lotion.
That's a rite of passage.
Why? And the scars that remain on the face. Right. So we give chickenpox vaccines now to prevent that from happening. And so by that age, they should have already had 2 doses of that particular vaccine as well.
So I remember having the little card that you had to go take to school and give to your principal. Is it still a immunization card that you carry around, or has it changed? How do we keep track of our
Most
vaccinations?
definitely, yes. So there's still a yellow card, immunization card that the parents would receive from your healthcare provider that will show the record of every vaccine that we would have given to them. And that is a requirement when you're going into school, particularly for children grades 1, 4, 7, and 10. They should submit their immunization records so that the school and the school nurse would know that they would have been vaccinated and been brought up to date as they go along. So yes, there is a card that still exists.
There you go. My memory ain't that bad, right?
No.
Excuse me. Is there a case where somebody is not able to take a vaccine or shouldn't take a vaccine? I mean, is there a medical condition? If, let's say they haven't taken, let's say, these vaccines as a child. Can they still go to school? Are they barred from public places? What happens if you choose not to, let's say, immunize yourself or your children?
Okay, so I'll take a piece of that, then you could have the rest. But vaccines are a requirement, yes, for school, and there are some legal conditions where let's say for religious purposes, you choose not to immunize the child, then that should be documented and presented to the school as to why not. We do have some children who may be what we call immunocompromised, and certain things they cannot take, or they may not take them on the schedule as other regular children. And so if that's the case, then a note still should be provided by their physician to say, okay, well, this child has X, Y, and Z and cannot take the vaccine. Very rarely, though, you do have some people who might have started and taken a shot and had an allergic reaction or severe reaction. And on that note, they would not continue, especially if the reaction was very severe. But other than that, then yeah, you should take it.
Get your vaccines,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and just to bounce off that as well, we know that there are always going to be a small pocket of persons in our population who can't be immunized for whatever reason. We have what we call a target. So if 95% of persons in a community are vaccinated, then that produces what people like to talk about herd immunity, right? So if we get vaccinated, the majority of us to protect those who can't be vaccinated,
Perfect.
right?
And we're not heading towards the point where, let's say, we need to vaccinate children for, let's say, COVID. That's not mandatory, right? That would be a choice by parents?
Yes. So COVID is not mandatory. That is by choice.
And let's say there's someone out there who, they don't know much about vaccines. They might be skeptical. They may feel as though it might be harmful. What's the science behind it that gives them a peace of mind? Or what can you say to somebody who may not know about the science of vaccines that just describes how they work?
Okay, so definitely to look at trusted sources as well, because there's so many websites out there. People go and get terrified. So you want to look at sources such as we're under the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, P-A-H-O. And you can look up PAHO vaccines, frequently asked questions. But in a nutshell, what they'll find is that the same germs, the viruses and the bacteria that we're exposed to in the vaccines are the same that we're exposed to every single day. And this just allows us to be introduced to it in a much safer way.
There you go.
Right.
And keep that measles, mumps, and rubella out of here,
Far
right?
away.
I don't even know what rubella is.
Let's not find out.
That sounds like somebody I know from around the corner, right?
Long time ago. But the other thing to that too is the vaccines are the same that we would have taken. So I was born in the 80s, some of us in the 70s, some of us in the 60s, and they started giving vaccines from back then. And so it has not changed. Now we have some newer vaccines out, like, we give people something that's called meningococcal that prevents an infection in the brain or certain pneumonias on the chest. But the things like the polio and the measles, they've been around for years. They have not changed. And so if they protected us back then, they're still good enough to protect your children today.
And I'm sure by now there's long-term studies that have probably been done to see the outcomes for folks who took their vaccines in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So like you said, find trusted sources and look up the information. You can check PAHO's website. So if somebody is watching the show and is like, I need to get my child vaccinated, what should they do? Where should they go?
Okay, so for persons who utilize the community clinics, you just want to visit the clinic that's nearest to you. If you have your yellow card at home, you can take it with you. If you don't, that's fine. You can go take your child and let the nurse know that you came for the immunizations. We do have an electronic platform now, thankfully, where we are able to see if you got a vaccine in Inagua and you're in New Providence, so we're able to see that you got that in Inagua and bring your immunization record, the card itself, up to date, or to see what it is that you're actually missing. There are persons who have taken advantage of NHI, and so those physicians also provide immunizations. So you can actually make your appointment with them and go right ahead. If you have any other questions, the National Immunization Unit, you can contact us at 341-174103, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Fantastic. I learned so much this morning. I get into Inagua for my vaccine. Oh, that Inagua vaccine sounds good. We'd like to thank you all this morning for being here, sharing your information. We appreciate the work that you do and continue to keep the herd immune, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you for having us.
You're watching Mamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Focall Holdings Limited is proud of its consistent growth and the financial success it continues to bring to many Bahamians who invest in the company. Focall is committed to ensuring optimal financial performance for its shareholders. Focall's leadership remains focused on superior customer service and operational excellence across all sectors. Focall, fueling growth for people.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Alive Business SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Alive Business at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Hey fam! family. Step into sophistication at Dash Designer Boutique, number 13 Parliament Street. There you find a wide array of colorful, elegant fashion for ladies. Shop brand name clothing and shoes such as McDougal, Bashley Mishka, Sam Elderman, Jeffrey Campbell, and Jessica Simpson. We've got you covered for the office, date night, red carpet events, and more. Also check out our stunning accessories. That's Dash Designer Boutique, number 13 Parliament Street. Open 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are continuing our Road to Paris series live from Paris. We are joined by none other than former Olympic gold medalist Tonique Williams, who is, I have to imagine, having the time of her life in the City of Lights, of course, as we are celebrating the Olympics there. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, all the way from Paris.
Good morning, Bahamas. It's actually afternoon here, but good morning.
Well, I guess any time of day is a good time of day to be live from Paris. We're so glad that you were able to join us. I'm sure so many exciting things are happening, but we do remember that this is 20 years since you would have become an Olympian during your time in the Olympics. How does it feel to be back in such a momentous occasion?
Yeah, it feels awesome. So many things are different from when I was competing. But there are so many things about the Olympic movement that are it's still the same. And one of those things is just that it really brings a spirit of unity. And that's what the Olympics is really about. And so since I've been here, I've really felt that I have seen people dancing in the streets from all different countries, enjoying just time together. I've seen persons in the crowd, no matter which flag you're holding. If you're seated next to someone and they're cheering on their child or a fellow country mate, we're cheering with them because it's all about seeing people do their best, being their greatest. And so definitely the Olympic movement is still alive.
So when did you actually arrive in Paris?
I got it on Saturday.
Okay. And since that time, have you been able to see or connect with any Bahamians, any Bahamian athletes?
Yeah, so I've seen very few Bahamians. I'm actually on the other side of it where I'm in the stands. I'm able to cheer them on. So I was able to see Ian Kerr because he was hanging with his family yesterday in the Olympic Park. And so we were able to connect. I've spoken to some of the athletes, their parents. I've sent messages to Laura Charlton, wishing Devin the best because she had an awesome heats yesterday. And also I've had the chance to connect with May Miller, who is the mother of Shawnee. The athletes are in the village. They're laser focused on what's happening now. And so this is a time for them to focus. I don't want to interfere with that. And so just sending messages to them the best way possible. I am going to the Olympic Village tomorrow. And so we'll have a time to visit with Team Bahamas. And so I'll be able to hang with some of the athletes, tell them what a great job they're doing representing the Bahamas, and also maybe connect with some of those that are still competing and wishing them the best.
Love that. Obviously, we've had a few disappointments. I think we've had some last minute injuries or just, certain athletes making the decision that it was best to hold back rather than not present their best. How does, and I'm putting you on the spot, but as a former Olympian, as an athlete, you come into those situations, you don't necessarily plan for that. And then you have these last minute disappointments. What advice, I guess, would you have for them in a situation like that?
Just to hold your head up high, represent God, represent yourself, represent your family, and also represent the 242. An athlete's journey is never one of just ups, but ups and downs, right? And so it's not an easy time for athletes that maybe, you trained for 4 years to get to this place and not being able to maybe show up in the way that you want to show up, especially maybe as a former champion, is very difficult. And so we have to allow them the space to be able to have that transition and, be able to do it with pride and dignity. And so I come into this competition non-judgmental because I've actually stood in those shoes before. And so I think after the event is over, we'll hear more about what's been transpiring with the athletes. But what we want to do is come out the Olympics and we want to remember the good times that occurred, right? We've had so many new athletes to the sport. We have athletes like Devin Charlton and Prisma Taylor, and also so many other athletes in new events, and also athletes that are making it to the semifinals in their first Olympic appearance. And so while it's very easy to focus on persons who are champions, we don't want to forget the ones that are showing up for Team Bahamas and also are the future for Team Bahamas at future Olympic Games. And so I encourage all Bahamians to think about our future as we progress throughout this Olympics.
I think that is excellent advice, especially from a very experienced Olympian. And, you know, we talked a little bit during the break about the fact that you are in, I forget what it's called, Hall of Fame, so to speak, for Olympians. You're in the former Olympic Village. How has that experience been? Have you been connecting with, you know, other athletes that you know who competed over the years? Have they been giving you the royal treatment, rolling out the carpet? What's happening?
Yeah, so I'm actually at Olay House, which is a house for former and present Olympians and their guests. And so, yeah, they've been rolling out all the red carpet, and I've been walking on it, enjoying, you know, the fruits of my labor. So it's been an awesome experience. And I have been able to connect with some former runners. We were taking pictures and they were like, oh, Tonic, we really hated you during our competition season, but we love you now. We really respect you when you walk on the track and how you represented your country. And so we've been able to exchange numbers and talk about future projects. And I think that's one of the biggest things as an Olympian that you can take away from the sport, right? After you've taken off your shoes and your medals in the box, then what does life have to offer you next, right? And so it's about these connections, these lifelong relationships, and also the future business partnerships, and also ways that we can continue to promote and develop the sport, because it's also passing the baton in that way, right? And how do we now, as former Olympians, how do we pass the baton and help our younger kids and help our country to continue to progress in the Olympic movement, because it's really about developing of people.
So important. Now you've traveled, of course, to see the Olympics. You're meeting with your former colleagues. You're encouraging Team Bahamas, but you're in Paris. So how much of your time is being spent at the Olympics, and how much of your time is being spent enjoying Paris?
I think right now it's probably about 50-50, but I must admit, my first stop was not the track. I did go to the Eiffel Tower. And so I'm definitely enjoying both sides of it. Like I said, I'm at the Olay House. I'm standing right in front of this banner that pays tribute to Jesse Owens. And so, you know, I'm doing that part of it, but I also visited the Jamaican house. So enjoying some of the Caribbean flavor here also in Paris. And then after I leave here, I'm going to visit Louis Vuitton. We have a special tour set up. And then we're going to go probably back to the area where there's the Eiffel Tower, because there's a lot happening there. Pick up some souvenirs. So it's about 50-50 right now.
Well, I don't think anyone could blame you. You've gone a long way. Paris is definitely a city worth enjoying. And I think if anyone deserves to have the time of their life at this year's Olympics, it's definitely you. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning and telling us about your experience.
Thank you for having me.
All right, continue to enjoy. Shout out Team Bahamas and have a croissant for me. And right around here.
I will pass your message and I will have that croissant for you.
And thank you all for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station. Open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
And that's going to do it for us today on Bahamas at Sunrise. We've wrapped up another week, another fantastic Friday. We're so happy that you were up with us. You stuck with us through the whole show. Now you are ready to run through your Friday just like Devin Charlton ran down those 100-meter hurdles. We celebrate her as always. She is going to be running in the final tomorrow. So make sure we got our conch horn, conch shell, everything so we can cheer for Devin all the way in Paris. Shout out to all of our athletes, all of the teams and all the coaches, all the support staff, family members, and just shout out to you, my lovely viewers, our lovely viewers. Thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise, the best morning show on television. You have yourself a charged up weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Be safe now.